Chris, welcome to Ed Technical. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks so much for having me
That's
here.
great. Yeah, it's great to be here. I am doing well. I am in trouble though because we are speaking to you, Chris, at 6 p.m. on Valentine's Day, 6 p.m. my time on Valentine's Day.
Uh-oh.
So my husband is questioning my loyalties between Ed Technical and our marriage. So hopefully,
So Owen and I should feel very honored.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, enough about that. And where are you calling in from today, Chris?
I am calling in from Palo Alto, California. This week we have had a team retreat for the Scale Initiative that I am a part of. So I've been on campus all this week
Awesome.
at Stanford
And can you tell us
University.
a bit more about the Scale Initiative? Like what is Scale?
Yeah, so the Scale Initiative is Susanna Loeb's work, Professor Susanna Loeb, which is nested under the Stanford Accelerator for Learning, focused on K-12 research having impact at system-wide scale with several focus areas, one originally being tutoring. And now, as of 6 months ago, our new generative AI for education hub.
Super exciting. And that's what we're really looking forward to hearing more about today, Chris. So what's the latest with the Generative AI for Education Hub? Tell us.
So what we are aspiring to build is to be a trusted source for education system leaders. So what works, leveraging generative AI to benefit students, schools, and learning. And we're using the broader Scale playbook, which means we have three priorities: research, building tools for these system leaders out of that research, and then engaging the field. And in this case, it's specifically bringing together those ed techs, those practitioners, and then researchers. So, we are little over 2 years into commercially available LLMs being unleashed to the masses. And so the research body around Gen AI and specifically K-12 is quite nascent right now. And so we've been focused on building the hub. We launched our first tool actually just about 2 weeks ago, our research repository with our website as well. And now really laser focused on standing up a handful of research initiatives.
Super cool. Yeah, it'd be great to hear more about the repository and kind of what's in there and like what you've learnt. As you say, there's been like obviously a huge excitement about the possibilities around generative AI in education. And I think people are getting more and more focused on, well, hey, like what do we know about where it can be useful and where it can't be? And so maybe a first question, just like how many studies are there in the repository? Like how many have you found that are already kind of giving us some evidence around Gen AI in education?
Yeah. So, right now in the research repository, we have 181 papers. And how we came up with this body to start is focusing on the audience that I spoke to previously of superintendents, state and federal K-12 leaders being our core. So we queried all the journals and sources out in the world of education research as well. And if it was, first and foremost, it needed to fit Gen AI, pre-K-12, and US. And then we included those areas that were sometimes outside of those if it fit post-secondary but still had relevance to a K-12 setting, or if it was a global study but had relevance to K-12 in the US, those were also included. Peer reviewed was not a requirement. So that's like high level what's in the repository. We plan to update it monthly. In between late December and early February, we added 40 papers to the body of work. So we anticipate an exponential increase in coming months of what the repository will include.
Cool. And what else? Can you give some examples of things research seems to be suggesting maybe aren't working or like less fruitful ways to be using and thinking about Gen AI in education?
I think there are some highlights. I think is really interesting early work on how educators and AI can work together, advanced teaching and learning. And two things that I will shout out specifically was human tutors supplemented by AI and great learning outcomes, and helping lower performing tutors advance their practice. That being one area. And then some interesting early research around improving teacher practice through AI, whether that's through feedback, classroom observation, things like that. I think that's one theme that we're starting to see. Some people use like centaur metaphor of human supplemented by AI, or cyborg metaphor.
I want a cyborg centaur.
Cyborg centaur.
Cyborg
there we go.
Yeah. Hopefully that's my spirit animal. Yeah.
So,
I want.
So there we go. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
Chris, both of those examples there you've given are both teachers using rather than student-facing tools. So that's interesting.
And just for a bit of a friendly provocation.
Yeah.
No one hates a tool that helps teachers, and like improving the efficacy of tutors by 10%. Like that's great. It's incremental in the best possible way, which I totally believe in that. But part of me is like, man, it feels like there's more potential here. And it's like, well, don't we think that there might be some more transformational potential here? Maybe.
Oh, yes.
Or like
for sure. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. And I think like humans supplemented with AI doesn't have to be an incrementalist model. So before building the repository, we started creating what we're calling a Gen AI tools typology to create some common language for us to all be talking about different tools. And so that is partially is what created the structure around the filtering tools. One of those categories is why use Gen AI? Like what might be the motivation? We've broken that down into 3 different categories. One is the efficiency play. Let's save teachers time, which I think that's not exactly what you were speaking to, but it's a little bit of like, an incrementalist approach. Like if we can save teachers 5 hours a week, who would argue with that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
If it's busy work that doesn't feed their soul as a teacher, that's
I'm more excited about that than by the way. I think that is a great thing. I think that's really cool. I get excited by like centaur cyborgs. I'm like, let's save teachers 5 hours a week. That's great.
When are we going to have a cyborg centaur tutor is my question. Anything else we can
go. Yeah. Right. And so
I love these buckets though. This is exactly what I was trying to push on. So efficiency is a play.
Efficiency is a category. And then second is a big category of student outcomes. And this could be a whole bunch of different things: improving math outcomes, improving literacy outcomes. It could be improved social emotional, a whole host of categories within that. But it's all about, ultimately, we're doing this, improving student outcomes. And then there's a third category of reimagining schooling. And so we think about school as 5 days a week, and kids go to a physical building and sit there for 6 to 8 hours a day in 4-walled classrooms.
It would be like an extreme version of a flipped classroom or something like that. Like we'll have, big studio days or something like that, because the kids can kind of get trivial content level questions answered on their own.
And in order to like fit within that category, so it is the kind of evidence within this category, the reimagined schooling category, are these kind of like big like transformational projects where Gen AI is playing a part, where there's like a whole different type of kind of school structure? Is that the types of like studies and interventions that are being looked at in this category, or is it a bit narrower than that at the moment?
So right now, if we go to the research repository and filter for reimagined schooling, we have a very small pool of studies. Right. And one thing we at the Gen AI Hub are really trying to balance is we want to be that trusted source for these system leaders. And these system leaders have challenges next week, next month. And we want to balance that with holding a more aspirational view of what Gen AI can do for K-12 education long term.
What's the biggest gap in terms of the requests you're getting from people wanting support, like system leaders wanting support, and what evidence we currently have? Like, what are you being asked about that just there's no evidence for, and you're like, hey, everyone, like, we need to fill this gap?
It's all over the place. System leaders are getting barraged at all levels, from individual teacher practice to scheduling and finance systems to academic integrity and they're dealing with all the challenges they were already facing in a system that has been underinvested in, is losing talent, is challenged. I will mention two that stand out, have come up in a variety of conversations, is how do districts can productively engage with labor on the role of AI in teacher practice is one area that I think is little talked about, but is important to address head on early. Yeah. So that's one category.
And just a quick one. I'm really keen to hear the second one, but no, just very interesting. I really wasn't expecting that to be a gap that you point to. What are you able to say kind of generally what the sentiment from unions is around Gen AI in education? Because I could see it going either way, right? That unions might be, hey, this is a really powerful tool that's going to make teachers' lives a bit easier. Like, hurry up and use it well in your setting. I could also see it going the other way, like, hey, you're deprofessionalizing the workforce by expecting people to be using these new tools. So if you can say more about what some of the kind of concerns or optimism is from unions, would be super interested.
Yeah, I think this is a great story of opportunity here, because the table is set for great progress. Because from what we're seeing, unions show some indicators of great interest and optimism. Yeah. Because let's put ourselves in each set of shoes of teacher unions are there to improve the day-to-day practice and life of a teacher. And this can be a powerful tool for teachers to improve their practice as a teacher and improve the quality of their job. So we've seen some great indicators of unions leaning in and being really optimistic and interested. A challenge there can be, AI can be seen as a labor-saving tool, and that very quickly can go conceptually to bad places from a volume of the labor pool. I don't hear of any schools making plans to shrink their workforce, but what that can set up sometimes is an avoidance of talking about it. And so I think the real opportunity is, there's a great the table is set for these two to work together, districts and unions, around AI on how this can lift all boats in that realm. Yeah. So the other category that we're working hard to make come to life in the near future, the elephant in the room is, I give an assignment to a student. When they go home, how are they creating their essay, their worksheet, whatever it is? Are they doing it on their own, sitting on their desk? Are they pulling up LLM and having that answer that for them? This is on the minds of education leaders, and there are no answers yet on how often is that happening and what does that actual process look like. And so we're really excited to do some research around students' use of LLMs outside of school to support their schoolwork. And we could see through, are they effectively using it as an answer engine, to learning there are applications where it could really be helping them push and explore their thinking, challenging them to think critically. And we have no idea what this looks like, and there's real opportunity there. There are lots of implications.
Super interesting. Thanks for sharing. We've got one last question for you. So other than cyborg centaurs in schools, what's your best guess vision? What's going to be kind of normalized around Gen AI in K-12 education in 5 years' time?
The big question. Okay, I'm going to give the aspirational and then the practical answer, great. And then hope that we land maybe somewhere in between. So aspirational education has evolved to be really thinking about what students can do, not just what they know. Students that are learning through experience, through projects, through the community around them. And there's an explosion of this more experiential hands-on learning in a K-12 setting. And these new technology tools are making that possible. I would love to see a world that looks like that, empowered by AI. I think a realistic take, especially given the state of federal K-12 education in the US right now, is that 5 years from now, we have 50 different laboratories, and that leadership has lived at the state and even at the district level. And what this means is we have an exceptionally uneven or like lumpy adoption of Gen AI across. We have some localized acceleration and embracing this more aspirational future. We have some embracing of a more dystopian future of robots over teachers and plugging kids into computers and calling that progress. And then in many ways, we have some that have little or no change from today. And I think in those cases, I actually think the barrier will not be money, but will be time and a habit of innovation at schools. And both of those can be in short supply because schools so often need to live in the now of the kid that needs to go to the nurse's office because they're vomiting, the like snow day that happened, and the capacity and the time it takes to pilot and adopt really innovative practices is hard work.
I like your aspirational, realistic framework, Chris, and you sound like you've ended up kind of in between there, but yeah, and it's actually reminds me of another great guest we had on, Ryan Baker, I think, who had a kind of similar view about where things are going to be. So you guys are in good company together with that view. Well, Chris, thanks so much for coming on. It's been awesome to have you on, Chris. And really excited to see how the work evolves and develops over the years ahead. So
Well, I so appreciate you letting me share a little bit about what we're trying to build. And I would really encourage people to go visit the research repository. There are some tools there that use AI to make sense of the body of work of, okay, here are 30 papers. What are the key takeaways from those papers?
Perfect way to get into the romantic mood for the evening, talking about evidence around Gen AI. So thanks for that.
Cyborg centaurs, another
the romantic cyborg centaurs.
Awesome, good stuff. Okay.
Well, okay. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
There we go. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you both so much for your time.
Amazing. Bye, guys.